All right, so next we're going to talk a little bit about cannabis and driving.
Yeah.
So how will the new laws affect medical users when it comes to driving?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. First, let's talk about what the federal government has put in place in terms of impaired driving and cannabis. So people may generally be familiar with the drinking and driving laws in Canada. So you can't drive impaired under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And you also can't drive when you have a certain level of blood alcohol content. And you don't have to prove that that person was impaired. It's just illegal to drive with an excessive level of blood alcohol content. So they've done the same thing for cannabis. They said, well, if you have a certain level of THC in your bloodstream within 2 hours of driving, that's a criminal offense. And the difficulty here is that there's no necessary or reliable connection between the level of THC in your bloodstream and impairment. So you could be unimpaired and driving and have smoked or consumed marijuana hours or days previous and still be offside those criminal prohibitions. And where this particularly impacts medical marijuana users is the more frequently you consume marijuana, the higher dose you're used to, the longer it tends to stick around in your bloodstream. So high frequency users are going to have a higher likelihood of having THC in their bloodstream a significant amount of time after they have used. So this all just makes it very uncertain for people. And when you try and pin the politicians down, because they are the ones who pass these laws about, when can I drive after having consumed or smoked cannabis, they will say, well, zero. Our line is zero cannabis is safe to mix with driving, because they actually really can't tell you. They can't give you good guidelines about how much you can consume and then how long you have to wait before you can get in a car and not only safely drive, but legally drive.
That's like one step above. Look over there.
Yeah, no, and it's because the science really says there's no necessary or reliable connection between impairment, THC levels, and even how fast your body can filter out the THC from your bloodstream. So it's going to be very uncertain territory for people.
It seems like it's not like with alcohol where there's a very direct relation. It seems like how come they don't default to like the stand on one leg and touch your nose type stuff?
Well, and that's what a lot of people wanted them to do. I mean, to actually link it to impairment as opposed to levels of THC in the blood. They've chosen to take a very conservative approach to regulating this substance in driving. They're justifiably very concerned about people driving impaired. And I think we will see court challenges to some of these provisions because there really is no necessary link between THC levels in the blood and impairment. This entire regime is going to be litigation for years. It's going to take a while for the courts to figure out what these provisions mean, how they interact with the charter. I think there's going to be a lot of case law about this.
I imagine there are a lot of countries watching.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Great.